the governments of man. This is about you. You're creating your reality by your own thoughts and your own beliefs. Well, Rev, so why are you always out there harping about the government? I don't give a goddamn about the governments of man. I care about you. I care about your soul and what you're doing to create the reality you want. So why? Why do what it is that you do and call it of the light when you sound like the dark? Well, let me tell you. I expose the light to the dark so you can see the truth. What you do with the truth is your business. You like it? You don't like it? It's none of my business. What I've made my business is the light of God. Bringing in the light. What is the truth? Okay, you got the truth. What you believe about the truth, what you move on to create your reality with is yours. I don't talk about the cops and the corrupt and all these nonsense in the governments of man to change demons into something they're not. Right? If they can do what they've done, that's who they are. However, you out there are the innocent, and you don't believe. Once you know the truth, then you can say what you believe. You cannot know your own belief, your own mind, and your own heart until you first know the truth. Okay? This happened, they said this, they did this. Here's the documents of proof, here's the video, here's the screenshots, here's all the evidence. Okay, now what I believe is, and I don't care what that belief is, it's none of my business. My business is the truth. Oh, you want to expose everybody, you want to bring, no, I want to bring the light. We're in New Earth, folks. You can create any timeline you want, but how are you going to do that if you're caught up in the lie? Your life, your children, every single thing you know to be your life is caught up in what I refer to as the hive mind. They got you in this group think. I am a divine sovereign individual. I don't align with any group or any person. I think for myself. Take a lot of flack for it. I'm here to bring you the truth. I don't care what you do with it. If you see the truth and you go, yeah, well, you're this and they're that, great, okay? But once you know the truth, and once you say, what is it I believe, then that raises the consciousness for everybody. That means you're creating reality from a place of the truth, of knowing the truth, instead of the demons having you hypnotized in the darkness. In the governments of man, in the medicines of man, where they got no cures. Oh, there's no cure for cancer. There's no cure for, there's a cure for everything, and it's hidden from you by the governments of man and their demon healthcare system and their FDA and their food system. All you witches and healers out there, you know. All you herbalists and people who live off the land and garden and study, you know there's a cure for everything. And that cure first starts with your belief, your thoughts, your frequency. Cancer has always been curable. Everything I've done online, I've taken heat for decades, right? But the only time I got shut down in minutes by the government was when I posted Black Sab, which I've helped at least 1,000 people over 20 years cure themselves of cancer because it kills. But you can't say that. You gotta sit back. You gotta watch them mutilate and radiate and chemo and all these tricks of their trade to keep you sick. Because they're the demons. Ain't gonna stop the demons. They got so much power. They use the police and the prosecutors and the big nonprofits. They use federal money. They use dirty money. They use all the tricks in the book to keep you oppressed. You know something amazing that will cure mental health issues, that will cure the worst of diseases, that will save children and help your quality of life, and you say it and you share it and they shut you down and they jail you and they beat you and they attack you. They constantly retaliate against you. Those days are gone. We're in New Earth. The demons don't have any power. However, you do. So if you still believe in them, then you give them your power. What I aim to do is bring you the truth. I've tried to bring the truth in alternative cures. I've been shut down, shut down, shut down, shut down. I've tried to tell you the truth about the governments of man. I've been shut down, been shut down, been shut down. I don't live in the governments of man. Why you always hopping about the governments of man? There goes some of them now. By the way, if you know the county I live in, your emergency system here is top-notch. Your police are corrupt. Your prosecutors, they seem to be kind of finding the light. I don't mean the top one. Your city council, your commissioners, your hive mind, they only care about certain people. Only certain people in the hive mind, I call them, get human rights and dignity and safety, and everyone else gets shut down and kicked and beaten. They can say, human rights for all, diversity, pride, yeah, we like everybody. But they don't. They don't. Case in point, right? A case in point, good example there, Rev. I had a Facebook page called Case in Point. I had about 20 of them after the big incident here, and exposing all the different parts. Shut down my Facebook account. She's lying about her name. She's this, she's that. Shut me all down, their gang stock and hive mind that doesn't exist, right? Shut down my voice over and over and over. Over and over and over, I rise and I turn to dust. And I rise and I turn to dust. Over and over and over and over, I draw these amazing things on that proverbial Etch-a-Sketch, and they shake it and it's gone. I build sand castles all along the beaches here, and that king tide comes in and takes it away. Otherwise known as the corrupt, the hive mind, we're better, we're do-gooders. We are the straight people standing up for the pride community. You butch, lesbian, whatever the heck you are wrong and we are right. Well, find your God! I don't expose the corrupt demon judges so that they will go, oh, I was wrong. They will never admit they are wrong. They will never admit they're doctors. They'll double down and triple down and kick me and kick me and kick me. But I'll walk with the power of the living God, and they will not take me out, and they have not taken me out, though I have suffered dearly. I rise and I rise and I rise because I have found my God, and I know my truth. And the right and the left and everybody in between, they have chastised me. They do not approve of me. They don't approve of my God and my ways and my humor. They like this and they don't like that. They come in and they go, oh, Rev, you're doing great. This is great. But what you need to do is change your grammar, change your language, change your style, change your method, change. Well, it's worked for me for 20 years. Yeah, but, we know best because we're the conservatives. We know best because we're the Democrats. We know best because we're the pagans. We know best because we're the Christians. Find your God. You know best for you. But you can't know best for you until you know the truth. And the truth is what I aim to bring you. And the truth is what I aim to bring you. Who are you? Who do you want to be? You want to be liked by the hive mind? Oh, there's a hive mind on the right and on the left. They don't approve of my lifestyle. They don't approve of my religion. They don't approve of my pinnacles. They don't approve of my brother Jesus or my goddess. People on the right, people on the left, they got an opinion of who I should be. They're like, boy, you got some potential. You got some mad skills. Let me control those, Here's my Bible. Here's my indoctrination. Here's my group thing. Here's my... Who are you without them? There's a cure for everything. We're in New Earth. None of them have power over you right now unless you give it to them. Stop giving it to them. Find your God! You are God. You are the power of the living God. You are a co-creator with God right now and every day on what you believe. But I'm too scared to speak the truth. I see why. They rain all hell down. Right? You pay them the taxes. You give them the stick to beat you with, right? They say, well, we got these laws here. We got these laws, you see? Oh, right. They got a law for everything, and they use it in selective prosecution for whoever they want to. I've been prosecuted by the local police for ordering public records. I've had criminal charges sent to the Jefferson County prosecutor 6 times by deputies and Port Townsend police for mailing court documents, which is required. Kind of reminds me of my daddy. He used to say, come here. I'd be like, no, Daddy. He'd be like, I told you to come over here. I come over there. And then he would fucking knock me down. He would put me on top of the fridge and tell me to trust him. Then he'd let me fall on the fucking floor. That's what your government does here in Jefferson County, Washington. They say, we got the laws. They got the laws for them. They tell you you have to, as a pro se litigant, you are required to send a document to everybody in the case. The minute you do, you got the demons filing criminal charges. Oh, that's all right. Demons, they yap all the time. Right. But you got your cops that turn it into probable cause, and they prosecute you in retaliation of the truth. I get that you're afraid. I get you don't want to tell the truth. They're going to take away your kids. They're going to take away everything. Guess what? I'm a ghost. Okay? I lost everything I knew to be my family, my money, my income, my life a long time ago. I get it. You got kids, you can't speak up. Okay? So I'm here to bring you the light of the truth. You don't need to do what I do. You don't need to take the hits that I take and get the death threats and be under the amazing amount of pressure that God has put me under. You don't need to do that. You need to find your God. Know your truth in your mind, and God will bring you a new timeline, a new reality. You don't have to go out there and take the hits. You simply have to say, what do I believe? Who am I without them? Who am I as a divine, sovereign, independent being? Who am I? Don't put your faith in the governments of man, in the health care of man. Don't put your eternity and your ability to create life and timelines and reality and love of your children and your God in the hands of the demons of the governments of man. Well, we got to make money. We got to make some money. How do we make money if we don't kiss their proverbial ass? I'll tell you what. The governments of man made the money. Paper money? Digital money? Money that they make gold out of lead? Oh, well, you know, we got all the power. Well, then why do they tax us if they tax you to control you? Okay? You don't need to go fight any system. That's for folks like me to do. Okay? I'm the light of God. All you need to do is know your own belief. Know your own truth. Speak your truth to yourself. And in that, you will draw to you a reality that you actually want to live. And you will repel from you the demons. You won't even see them once you shift to another frequency. Find your God. Oh, I believe. What do you believe, Rev? I believe in the power of the living God! And I live it every motherfucking day. And I take the heat from every side. But I know God. I have died and I've come back. I was taken by the undertow of the gods of the sea. I died. I left my body. I knew I wasn't my body. I walk around in my dreams and I know I'm not my body. I channel and I talk to trees. I know things, I guess these guys, they call it supernatural, but to me it's natural. I know God. And these systems of the governments of man is not God. You are God. Find your God! How, Rev? How? Talk to God. Talk to Spirit. Talk to yourself. Stop participating. If you can't get away from them, ask the Holy Spirit to cut all the cords. I call all my power back to me. I cut all the cords. All the thoughts that come my direction, all the negativity, I neutralize it and send it back with love and light. Get away from them slowly as you can and say, what do I believe? And I don't care what you believe. I care that you believe what you know is true for you and not just what they believe so they'll accept you and because they won't hurt you. Take your children, take your job. But we need money, Rev. The governments of man created the money. The devil created the money. Oh, is money bad? No, money's good. But you don't need to kiss their ass to get it. God will bring it to you when you know you're worthy of it. God will bring it to you when you know how reality is created. digital numbers in a computer, shift to a timeline where there's billions. Oh, I'm not there. I've had a lot of self-worth issues to deal. I've had a dark night of the soul over and over and over on the ropes. Boom, 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 boom. And I rise up and I rise up and I rise up. I'm about 50 years in. And I'm doing a pretty good job. So I know how hard it is. We can't just shift to reality where you have money. I shifted to a reality where I lived in a car, freezing to death. I couldn't get dry. I couldn't get a fucking friend. I couldn't get the government's a man to look at me, and none of these high-minded care so much about people. As an old lady living in a car, well, they didn't like it. They called the police on me anytime I was anywhere near anything that they thought was a good thing, and I'm a bad thing. Oh, but they're the do-gooders. I've lived it. They say when you live something really deep and dark, you create a cure for all those out there praying for a solution that are in that same situation. I didn't have any credit because we didn't have gay marriage, and I was in a relationship for 16 years, and she had everything in her name. That was her little game, right? So I'm in a car. I'm under it because I decided to do the right thing. Stand up for victims, and I rained all hell down on myself. I did that because I couldn't deny the voice of God for the government's a man. And one day, when I had raised my frequency, when I had realized, I thought my God had forsaken me. It turned out I had forsaken myself with my repeated thoughts of my own self-worth. I had forsaken myself because I didn't want to live in this world anymore, over and over. Then I began to change my thoughts. Cut my mother right on out of my life. Cut the dead wood and all the dirty, dark people out of my life. Started to rise up. And I went out in the woods and I prayed to God and I talked to the trees and I said, bring me a miracle. I said, God, I'm too far out to see. I don't got no credit. I don't got no money. I don't got no rental history. I don't got no way to get into any housing. I'm out here. Right? All the solutions come in the dark. Oh, you got some family in Montana. You come live with them. You got these friends. Come live with them. Oh, you got an ex in such and such place. Says you come live with them. The fuck I do! I'm not going to find God and then go back to the devil. Amen. I came to love living in the car. I came to love the otters and the beautiful night air. Those ions in the air over the docks. The moon dancing on the water. The people that are out there enjoying the moon and the beauty of the bay, they don't know if you're right or left or up or down. They don't know nothing about you. When you stand there and you share the beautiful moment of the incredible beauty of the Port Townsend Bay and the Olympic Mountains, y'all singing and dancing together. In that moment in time, I came to love, taking pictures of strangers, helping people set up events, helping people hold open doors. The street preacher, helping everybody, loving everybody. I came to love the beaches. I came to love it all. Didn't really ever fall in love with not having a place to go to the bathroom or change. Didn't fall in love with being cold all the time. But I began to find my God, and I realized I had forsaken myself. God was there the whole time, but I was asking for shit. I was asking for dirty, negative yuck. I was over and over repeating, I want to die, God. Make me die. Help me die. I don't know how to die. I need to die. I'm repeating it, and I'm creating it, and God's listening for what I want, not judging. And then one day I realized I wanted to live. I realized that wasn't my voice. That wasn't my truth. And I found my God inside myself that had always been listening. I was just asking for the wrong stuff with my own repeated thoughts. And then I got me a job, sort of dealio, house sitting for a couple weeks. Turned into a year. Turned into permanent housing and permanent food and heat. Right out of nothing. Right out of nothing. God brought me a miracle, and I had a roof over my have all the food I can eat. You don't need to play in the systems of man. You don't need to get their jobs and put up with their stuff. You don't need to lie to them every day about how much you like and approve of their evil. You need to be willing to have your dark night of the soul. You need to be willing to face your own shadow and your own truth. Their money is an illusion. You can manifest a miracle right out of nothing. Once you find what, Rev? Find your God! The power of the living God is here every minute of every motherfucking day. You're the one that forsakes yourself. You're the one that listens to the demons and the judges and the prosecutors and the cops and the councils and the mayors and the managers. You are the one that chooses what truth you hang on to for that day. You're the one that denies your own God inside. You're the one that creates your reality. Oh, I knew positive thought creates. I'm going to think positive. I'm going to say my affirmations. But inside, I'm going to want to die. Inside, I'm going to be like, woe is me. The government's a man. Money, a job, this whole system, it's just all rigged against me. And God has forsaken me. And then guess what? I found my God. Turned out the whole motherfucking time it was me. I don't need your dark money, the government's a man. I'm manifesting money of the light, you see. I don't need your money. I found my God instead. Turns out God's got some access to some money. You see, I was pretty darn hungry one day, and I was hanging out in Better Living downtown at the coffee shop here in Port Townsend. I was milking my glass of play pretend so I could sit in there. And this table next to me felt me. And they bought me a quiche and a coffee. God helped me when I needed it. God helped me when I started changing my thought and remembering that I was the one in control of my reality. Oh, but Rev, we need that money from the government's a man. See, they hand it out to us and we need it. Call them bullshit on that. Find your God. Find your God. You are the power of the living God right now, right here, every day. Big storm coming one time. I was living in the car. Big storm. I got no tires. I got no way to get to the store. That storms are coming. Let me back this story up a little bit. A few weeks prior, I was down there at a state park here. I'd spilled a bunch of stuff in my car. You know, you don't want your car to be wet. It's a lot to tricks to living in a car. I'd spilled some stuff. It really hit me hard that I was living in a car and just how hard this was. And I was crying. I opened up everything and I got everything out on top of the car. Got a real hillbilly going on. And the park ranger comes over and she's like, you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I wasn't with you. Right, thinking she's going to chew me out, right? And she says, if you're cold, you could go on up there to the lodge up there, Fort Warden, and sit by the fire. And I said to her, this isn't me. This isn't who I am. She said, I know. Most people in your circumstance feel the same way. So I let my stuff dry out. I headed on up to the fireplace up there at the lodge at Fort Warden. Turned out they weren't as friendly as her. See, I know the tricks. So I dressed up a bit to go in. I didn't go in there in my homeless gear of 9 layers to keep warm, right? I put on some respectable clothes. Went in there, I'm sitting there writing and listening and stuff. Like I'm, a regular person. And this woman comes in, I don't know, late 50s, 60. She walks in And she looks at me. She, you know, if you're familiar up there by the fire, she comes in the door. There's a restaurant here on a Revel or something. She comes in, she waves at me, she goes, I'll be right over, I'll be right over. And I'm like, whatever, lady. Like, I don't know her, right? She goes and gets her snacks and things. She comes and sits down beside me. And we have a great talk about Ireland and God and miracles with her husband and his eyes and all kinds of things. She was dressed like a homeless person. You know, she's just in her sweats and her casuals. And it turned out she had a house a few blocks away, right? So, we're just visiting. I tell her my situation. She takes me to the grocery store and buys me a few $100s worth of groceries. And she gives me this little car heater seat thing. This showed up. God sends you who you need when you need it, right? Right, okay. Let's go back to that story then. Storming, it's cold, it's cold. You know, here in the Fort Townsend area, we get about 2 weeks of winter. Well, it was that 2 weeks of winter. Turned out to be like about 5 weeks that year. Freezing cold, got no, you know, my battery's going in and out of my car. I don't got gas money to run it and keep warm. I don't really know what I'm going to do. I go and I sit in Better Living Coffee there, and I have some coffee, and I'm sitting there, you know, pretending I'm having coffee. So I can sit in there. And she emailed me out of the blue, and she said, you know, I've left for the winter, and I've got a renter there at the house, a couple renters, and I'm worried about you in the storm. She said, why don't you go on over to my house for a month? And so I cried, because, you know, God had not forsaken me that day. And so she said, let me call my guy that lives at the house and have a meet with you. She calls him, then she gives me his phone number. And I called him. And that nice man was sitting right next to me. Random, right? God's random. Find your God. God is not random. I moved in. The next day the storm hit, and boy, is it big snow and big cold. And I had food and I had warmth. And I had I didn't have the internet, but I had downloaded my movies. And I had found my God! And I found my God in strangers every time I needed it to survive. I stayed there for about 6 weeks. Then I went back out of the car, got me a job at a local restaurant for a little while. I couldn't take that. That's a long story. Well, God did not forsake me. And when I had forsaken myself, right down to the moment of where I'm probably going to freeze to death. I almost did one night. One night I woke up barely breathing. But when it comes down to I'm really going to check out, God sends me an angel. An angel and a stranger. An angel and a phone call. An angel and an email. My God had not forsaken me. I found my God, and I believe in the power of the living God. And I know that if you believe in the power of the living God, you too will create miracles in your life. Because they're not miracles. It's the nature of reality. It's how it works. It's how it works. So I hear people out there saying stuff like this. A few weeks back, a few months back, actually over the last 20 years, I've heard it at least a dozen times. People want to marry for money. Woo! They want to find themselves a sugar mama, a sugar daddy. They want to get themselves a job for money. Right? Tell you what, I didn't marry up for money. I married up for what I thought was love. What I thought was a mutual spiritual interest. But it didn't take long, and we kind of became that proverbial monster where I wasn't really hurt. We weren't hurt. We weren't me. We were just, right? She had the money. She had the house. She had the purse strings. I didn't realize that I was making the money with her money. I was in real estate, and I'd go buy a property with her money for like $100,000, sell it for a couple million. Now, I did it, but it's her money. And I wanted to die. We weren't close. We weren't friends. We were just there. And I was stuck because I didn't know I could live in a car. I wanted to die every day. I had to give up my friends, my community, my heart, my soul, my laughter, my dance, my play, and my body because I stayed for 16 years. Yes, I did. So when I hear people out there going, they're going to marry for money, I tell them, I'd just soon have a bullet in my head. Someone come up to me and said, I'm a gazillionaire. If you come live with me, I'd be like, boom. Well, actually, I wouldn't. I'd say no. But I'd rather be dead than to marry for money or date for money or do anything for money. Oh, get this job for money. Kiss ass to this government for money. Oh, take this cause for money. Take that cause for money. Yeah, I'd rather have a bullet in the head. Been there, done that. It's better to be dead. It's better to be gone, right? Than to sit there every day wanting to die because the money's coming from the demons. The money's coming from the darkness, not something you did of the light. Oh my goodness, you married someone up and you love them and you're having fun and laughing and playing and that person happens to have money. Hallelujah, that's beautiful. You create your own money and bring someone into life. Great. But when it's the dynamic of you have to stay, you can't go anywhere, when they've convinced you that they're your controller because they're in charge of the money and they have the credit and they're the ones in charge of everything, there's nothing worse than laying in that and feeling like you want to die and letting your poetry, your art, your life force, everything you know to be you, die and drown in being someone else's version of you for money. I hear those guys out there saying, I'll find me a rich man. They get a little shocked when I say I'd rather have a bullet in my head. Thank you very much. Yeah, it sounds a little graphic. Well, laying there over a decade, wanting to die is a lot more graphic. I put a gun in my head at least a dozen times. A Montana gal, you know, we always got a gun around. I didn't want to live. I didn't know I could leave. I didn't know I could break up. I didn't know I could live in a car. I didn't know that, so God called me. God called me one day because this baby that I babysat turned 18. And a bunch of men drugged her and raped her. God called me that day. And I roared. And I roared and I roared and I roared. I stepped in it. I run down, rain down. Hell come on me. And then there was another victim and another victim and another victim. And God called me. And I stepped up. I didn't leave that life of suffering for myself. I didn't know. But I left that life because I'd found my calling and I'd found God. God spoke to me. God gave me legal terms in the government of man and case law and crazy stuff I didn't even know existed. God did that. And I was alone. And family, everybody turned on me, and Fox News was saying crap about me and they believed it, but I knew something they didn't. I knew the power of the living God, and I had found my God. I knew the truth. And those victims suffering in the dark, they would now have a light, and that light would be me. I didn't know how hard that life would be, but I'll tell you what. It was a better life every day than suffering in a marriage for money when I was not loved and didn't have any fun and I was made fun of for my writing and my creativity. Every fucking thing about me was dumbed down. I have had hell rain down on me from the biggest and the most darkest, the porn industry, the corruption, the biggest corruption, everything corrupt and you can possibly imagine. And it was still better than being with a person or a job or a cause for money. Oh, money can come to you in the light. Money can come through love, and money can come through any way that God brings it of the light. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when you sell your soul for money. There ain't no suffering like that. So when they say, oh, find me a job for this amount of money. Well, do you believe in it? Well, no, you know, it's the money. It's the money. I gotta stay for the money. I gotta stay for the kids. You gotta suffer for your kids? Huh. Well, I'm gonna go to this cause because I see some money in it. Huh. I'm gonna go marry that guy. He's got some money. He didn't take me and do all the fun, expensive things. I'm gonna hook up with that gal. She got some property. I wanna just cry and cry and cry. Because I know the suffering they're gonna go through inside. Because they gave their soul to the government of man, and they're made of money that was in control of the demons because they didn't know their own mind. They didn't know their own God. They didn't know how to create reality. They didn't understand the power of the living God to create a life they wanted. They thought it had to come from somebody saying, well, if you do this and this and this, I'll like you and I'll give you money. If you do this and this and this, I'll say, you're my wife and I'll give you money. You do this and this and this, I'll say, you're my husband and I'll give you money and I won't leave you, see? Because, you know, you'd be nothing without me. That's not me. Because I found my God! And I know the power of the living God, and I will not sell my soul to the devil for any amount of money in the governments of man. Amen. And I hope you don't either. Living God, and I will not sell my soul to the devil for any amount of money in the governments of man. Amen. And I hope you don't either. And the truth is what I aim to bring you. And the truth is what I aim to bring you. And the truth is what I aim to bring you. Find your God! Because I found my God! And I know the power of the living God, and I will not sell my soul to the devil for any amount of money in the governments of man. Amen. And I hope you don't either. And the truth is what I aim to bring you.